Hey, hi, how is it going today? This is Pancake Marathon. So, as I was saying, um, there's points. There's super points, of kind of what this kind of episode's about, essentially. You know, we all have this ability, the whole slogan of, complicating things, and it's a simple program, right? And in all of itself, there's that point. There's the point to where it comes to the simple fact of the matter of problems, which in a sense of saying is, well, in recovery means it's your thinking, right? It's the the incomprehensible. It's that then leads us into demoralization, right? And then we can progress into what is it, reservations, um or no, expectations, reservations, obsession, no, resentments, and then obsession, right? Hmm. Let's put that in more of a context that more maybe relatable to you, right? Because maybe you just started, and oh my gosh, I totally get. There's that concept where it's fully, absolutely within itself, a challenge of wording, right? You have to kind of be a wordsmith. You really got to kind of be dedicated to asking more questions. I haven't said this in a while, or whatnot, today at least, or more or less, whatnot it may be, essentially, of saying, you know, there's only one stupid question. The answer of no comes with it. And that's why it's a stupid question, right? Other than that, is it really stupid? Can I really condemn you for your understanding, right? Maybe you didn't know. Maybe you're just learning, right? And now it's a teaching thing. It's like philosophy aspect, right? And then maybe if you need to be preached at, reminded, right? Now it's coming from, what is it, an accident to now a mistake? Because mistakes are repeated accidents, accidents you didn't know, and it just happened, right? And so essentially, it is as what it can be of, the matter of fact of itself, that it's all about your inability to practice spiritual principles, you know, um, essentially. And so, okay. Okay, so if it's the incomprehensible, which is not a paradox in of itself, to simply say, of, it really comes to the simple fact of, it's your thinking, right? The problem, incomprehensible of itself. And to continue what I was saying is, if it was a paradox, essentially, right, it would be that of, unstoppable is just another way of saying stoppable. It really is. And so, it's like the same thing of saying, from mental health aspects or what it may be, triggers, right? How I utilize triggers, because it does exist, right? You know, yeah, we can say from the mental health aspect, it really plays on the whole victim thing, right? You know, I'm just like, I don't really, if you could see me, I'm raising my hand to be like, I'm not a victim. The only reason I would say that I'm a victim is to bring you peace of mind so I can get through this faster, right? Because it's all based around the context of the definition of what jargon, what field, what is the goal and the tool of itself, you know. And so, that goes leading into that whole aspect of, the wording is so challenging sometimes and we can't get past it. We are wanting to do our best, right? As it says in the AA book, it says every addict essentially is so amazing. They have so much to offer and they can do anything in the world, right? They make things happen. All it comes down to is focus and willingness and honesty and, all those kind of things, essentially. Yet we just have to be focused, and just to clear the air, an addict to myself, because this is all I have to give. This is all me. This is not. I'm not the face of AA or any other 12-step recovery program. This is just my recovery. This is what I have to offer. Right? I can become the face of my recovery, and if I choose, in and of itself, there's challenges in breaking anonymity. Right? Yet, anywho, or going against going whatever, I'm just saying, I'm attempting to put a positive spin, spirituality, all this kind of stuff, don't judge unworthy, all that kind of stuff. It is just what it is, essentially, and my what is it, my massage therapist says, it's not the best to say it is what it is. You're basically allowing that pain to happen, right? But that's from the context of when something, we can say air quotes, of bad happening, right? You're like, I'm just gonna accept it. It's fine. It's cool. I could, do anything, and this is what I'm gonna do. It's fine, right? Right. Okay. It's cool. I still have something to learn from it. Or if I didn't, then I would go ahead and stop thinking about it. I would go ahead and just apply just change my socks, right? Because you don't think about those other socks, that you just changed from the concept of, unless you're doing laundry, right? Or you need to, do laundry or whatever it may be. Other than that, you don't think about those other socks, right? Out of sight, out of mind, because you have socks on. You're gonna go about your day. All this, all this, all this. Absolutely, right? Right. I get it. Absolutely. Let go. Absolutely. So then going into that wording, right? You know, of simply saying as I've said this in other, you know, episodes of this podcast of Pancake Marathon, which essentially is, reservations or expectations, essentially. Expectations are high standards, essentially, maybe, per se. You're trying to control too much. You're trying to be, the isms of the I isms, right? Kicking in, right? Woe is me, I'm everything, more or less, right? Even though I know in a sense of spirituality, but this is, recovery context, right? You know, because I think the simplest way to describe spirituality is already seeing the perfection within you. You're already perfect, you know. And then if you really go to the theology aspect of itself, when it says it in the Bible, right? You know, of made in the image of, right? Which means a copy. I'm just saying, there's points, but this is how I see it, things. Absolutely. Okay, so then we went from, what is it, reservations, which are like expectations. Expectations are like reservations, essentially, because what do you do at a restaurant, right? You essentially make a reservation. You already know what you're going to do. It's essentially, playing out the whole tape, all these kind of things, And then you go into resentments, which is anger. And then you go into obsession, which is worry, right? Why worry about anything? Just count the three little birds. It's all going to be all right. Where are you rushing to, right? What are you trying to get to? The destination that's already there when you're the destination, right? You're only prepared by doing it. Other than that, when you're doing it, then you're ready, right? It doesn't even matter how long you prepare for. Like we can say the whole doomsday prepper or whatever it may be, right? They only prep for 2 years or whatever it is, right? What are they going to do on year 3, right? What if it goes, haywire and, their expectations and then, the reservation didn't work out. Now they have expectations, which now they have anger in a sense of saying, which is a trigger, which, to me, simply to say triggers, how I utilize triggers. Because I know you don't shut the door on the past, right? Because then you don't learn from it. And in recovery means you don't wish to, right? Even though aspects of life, you don't necessarily want to wish things because it's there's points. There really, really is. Absolutely. Really, really is. If you know anything about folklore and all that kind of stuff as such, then you don't want to wish things because it's a point. Absolutely. Genies, all these kind of things. Yet, I'm just saying. So then, in and of itself, so how I utilize triggers essentially, right? Because I was highlighting how in mental health or whatever it may be, in a sense of where it really is the whole victim thing, where it has we can say a bad connotation to it, just a bad nonsensical aspect of negativity, or whatnot. Not that negativity is nonsensical and a moot point, right? You're only as strong as your weakest link. The meek will inherit things, and how I see the meek is the leader, right? They will be humble. They will basically be a sigma, and they will not other than be there when you're ready, right? I mean, different from an alpha, absolutely. From the sense of an alpha can be seen as a leader, but really they're not. They're a great narcissist, and they really don't care other than to talk about themselves. It's their idea. That's where the whole 48 laws of power really hone into itself. Essentially, we are all trying to do this by yourself, and okay, anywho, right? Okay, so the way that I see a trigger, how I utilize that trigger thing, because you don't shut the door on the past, right? But you are not going to be able to become the face of any recovery program. Tradition 6, essentially. And so, what is the value that's already there? This is the spiritual aspect of recovery. Yes, there is a religious aspect, right? That it's already perfect the way that it is. You're not there to perfect those steps. You're there to practice the steps. Okay? You're there to recognize the perfection within yourself. Okay? So, from the religious standpoint, right? In a sense of it saying, from you're waiting for somebody to come save you, right? The spiritual aspect is that you are going to be the one to save yourself. You got to put the work in, right? You're the one that led yourself into that pain. You get to lead yourself out of that pain. You don't have to, right? But how does it work out when you don't have any company and you're miserable? You're going to want some company, right? To get out of the echo chamber just a little bit, even though you're going to want to stay and reinforce what you're hearing because you didn't change the way that you look at it. And it always, it depends on the goal that you're really working with, right? Because if energy is everything, energy can't be destroyed, it can just change form. Oh, okay. It's just basically in and of itself, you get what you focus on. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so yet, you know, going within of itself of the whole trigger thing, right? You have, the way that I utilize triggers is it's a marker to work on myself, right? Okay. Okay, so and going in the highlighting aspect of how triggers still exist, because didn't I just say it? Oh, okay. Didn't you? Could you read it? Okay. So going off the whole explanation of what Santa can be, right? Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and look at it this way. Okay, so you want whatever is underneath, let's say whatever it is, let's say candy. Okay, it's underneath this 100-pound thing. Okay, you can only lift 99 pounds. It doesn't matter what it is, you can only lift 99 pounds. Oh, okay. So you need, what step 5, in a sense of saying, would be somebody other, right? Oh, okay. Or we can, in essentialities, in a sense, saying, what is it? 2, step 2, come to believe, and then, 3, made a decision, right? Because we admitted, right? Okay, so um, you 5 would be somebody else helping you, right? Because you did all those other things, right? You admitted, you made a decision, you came to believe, made a decision, you looked around, saw your part, how you can take responsibility essentially, and how you're wanting to develop this new character and have others see you as this, right? Or essentially, um, how you can be of service when you really get down there to the, step 12 essentially as a virtue, right? And so then, you ask somebody else for help, right? Because you say I can't do this and da 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 da, right? Okay, so then now it doesn't matter how much they can lift because they're going to be able to lift at least one more pound, right? They're going to be able to help you. Okay, So then, we can say you're clever enough to be able to lift it up with your foot. Okay, but then, there's a point where maybe you can't even lift anything or whatever it is, right? And so, or you're able to lift 50 pounds, but so then you need somebody else that can lift, 50 to 50 or 49 to 51 pounds together, right? And so then, just to make sure you don't want to work too hard. You don't want to be a hero, right? And you don't want to be brave in that sense, right? If you really knew the context that I meant that in, there's points. But I'm just saying you can't do this by yourself, right? And so essentially now you're team efforting it, and because it's what tradition one, to find unity and personal recovery and a way of giving it away. Okay, so you have this in mind, right? So you get the candy under there. Okay, they put it down, you share, right? Unless you're going to be a poop head and then run away or whatever, and then hopefully they don't find you down the line or whatever it may be. Maybe they already forgave you and they really didn't even want the candy. They just wanted to help you out, be of service, right? What is it? What's that word where it's authentic, but it's altruism, right? You just do it because you can and you're capable of it, essentially. And so, simply to say, okay, that, you know, um, so the reason why I gave that context or that metaphor or the whatever it may be, essentially, right? It would be more of a quote, essentially, but regardless of all those things, you know, of the development of, telling a story of why you're doing it and all these kind of things, because the quote goes into a metaphor, and then a metaphor essentially develops into, um, oh my goodness, why do I always not recall this at this moment? I will. It is a proverb. Absolutely, that's really what it is. And all those things can, be universal truths or of the time or whatever it may be, right? Okay, so the reason why I'm leading with that basically is Santa does exist, right? Regardless, get past the acronym if you have some resentment and anger because, okay, that's cool. What are you going to do, right? Anywho, to this simple fact that, okay, so, for those or whatever it may be, right? Regardless, it's you don't do this alone, right? And so Santa needs help, right? Oh, okay. So you lived through somebody, right? Oh, okay. And so, in that sense, is that not one of the most practiced altruistic things, essentially, right? For Santa, as Santa? I'm just saying, right? Okay, so Santa does exist, right? The same thing as triggers, right? It's how you look at it. Okay, so once you stop playing the victim role and you see things differently and you realize that you were realizing because you realized there are real lies because you opened your eyes and seen that there are real lies upon the real eyes around you, to then you realize how you realizing this absolutely of itself, that's how you look at it. Okay, so through itself, essentially to say that how I utilize triggers is it's a marker of working on myself. That yes, I still get sad, I still get angry, mad, whatever it may be, but practicing the principles in all my affairs has helped me in such a way to where I am able to not burn down my life. And that's why I think it's called a burning desire, actually, is because you burnt down your life so much that we are here to help. So please reach out. Don't isolate. Don't go and burn down your life again, essentially. It's okay if you do more step zero research. That is perfectly fine. That is your life, and it's okay, right? You make it what you want it, right? Yes, it's all about your intention and all these kind of stuff, and it's about God's timeline and all these things, essentially. Especially if you're just going to go ahead and be you, ego, energy on the go, ego, right? I'm just saying, those points. But essentially, how I see triggers is it's a motivational marker essentially that I get to work on myself. Okay, I get to put the work in. Step 10, instant inventory. If I'm wrong, promptly admit it. Right? Okay. Hopefully, I don't need to make a living amends in a sense, or making amends, and it's okay if I do have to make a living amends. It's perfectly fine. You know. Yeah. So, where I'm going with all of this, essentially, is that it comes down to this simple fact that the way that you look at things does make the difference. It does matter. Absolutely. It really, really does. No one deserves to be a poop head. No one deserves um, to have a poop head go to them, right? Essentially. But it's how you get up, right? When you're down, it's how you get back up. It's how you finish, not how you start, basically. And so, um, what it comes down to this simple fact is that it was your attitude of indifference, that you were unwilling to change your ways at that moment. Just like I know for absolutely when you say I'm done, you 100% mean it. But how do you keep doing the next right thing? What principle are you going to practice in all your affairs? Right? Affairs means, in recovery, the moment of happening, it's happening, right? And how are you going to rest that affair? That thinking, where you're going to put it. Keep your house in order. Keep your side of the street clean. As I would like to say it, zen your garden, right? Absolutely. I'm just saying, absolutely it is. And so the reason why I'm saying all these things is because I was so hurt and angry and all whatever, right? There's a point where I get to recognize these things. I didn't burn down my life and go and woe is me at this moment. just saying, right? Two, the simple fact that my feelings are valid, right? But it's never, absolutely never a fact that just the way that I'm thinking, trying to justify it, it's the same thing as unjustified and justified are the same exact thing. My life is unmanageable and I'm powerless against it. Some way of I have not accepted what is what, and it's not okay because I haven't admitted it yet. And that's why acceptance, admitting is everything. Same thing, it really is. Yet, if you want something to change, it's how you look at it. Stop trying to feel the pain, basically, and feel with the intention of what is joy, what is a foundation not built on quicksand, right? It is time to stop doing 360s, okay, and start doing a 180 and then do a 360 after that. Absolutely. It really is. It really is. So, anywho, thank you, God, of my understanding, for being here with me. Thank you for letting me be a trusted servant and a leader to carry a message, to never break anonymity, to realizing how I can practice all these principles in all my affairs and be at peace with life and myself in general. It really, truly is. So, anywho, it's all about showing up for that miracle. And it's okay if you don't be perfect. It's okay not to be anything other than you. It's okay not be okay. It's hurt people, unhurt people, unhurt people. We do this together, people. I'm just saying. Anywho. So, it's how you look at it. It is truly is. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? God does. That good early direction. Got off the drugs. Go outside. Right? Right. Go outdoors. That's what it was. Just throwing it in there. I'm just saying. Anywho, I love you. And if you can't comprehend how much I love you, that's okay. That's not me. That's you. I don't know. I'm just here to say it's okay to be okay. It's okay if you're 100 is what it is, but if you're at your 30, that's cool too. It really, really is. It happens. It does. And it's okay. Yet, You do deserve to take up space. You do deserve to be loved. When are you going to love yourself, though? And if you can't comprehend the whole God thing because you got some resentments because of your whole expectations, because of your reservations, that ultimately leading you into obsessions, it's okay. Sometimes slowly and sometimes quickly, you will have faith always, though. Hope, faith, a future, it's all the same. You will have it already. What are you going to do to put the work in, though? Right? To simply say that I love you. And if you need a God of my understanding to help you through this until you can get yours, simply to say it's unconditional love, yet maybe it's unity. Oh, wait, I really don't think I can fit it into a box other than giving you some relatability and unity upon yourself. Because really, my God doesn't, other than everywhere, every moment. And loves when I say the storm is not that big, but it's okay when I say the storm's bigger than you at this moment. Because this is all I have to give. It's okay. I love you. Yeah. Have a beautiful one. And thank you so much for making this part of your recovery, your life, all of it. Absolutely. You have a great one. Thank you.